is going on, everybody? Welcome to another Brand Doctor live stream. Today, we're going to be figuring out whether or not you could pass the high ticket sales test. And what we're going to be doing today with my co-host, Awais Qureshi from the Visual Q, is some role playing when it comes to high ticket sales conversations. So are we ready to rock and roll here, buddy, or what?
Let's do this, man. I've been waiting for this since last week.
Me too. It's one of my favorite conversations.
Yeah.
And here's the thing that I want to help everybody with today is I want you to understand that a high ticket sales conversation is not a I win, you lose, or I lose, you win scenario. It is helping you understand that you are just trying to help somebody get from point A to point B. That's number one. Number two is, like I mentioned on Monday, I think a lot of high ticket sales fail because the person selling or trying to sell isn't equipped with the proper responses. I know that is something that I struggled with for years. And that's why I'm so passionate about helping people sell high ticket, because it took me a long time for me to get over a lot of my limiting beliefs. It took me a long time to figure out how to respond when somebody says you're too expensive or I could find this cheaper. Those are the things that require response. And if you respond properly and challenge the assumptions of the people that you're talking to, you're going to open the conversation up in different ways that you would never think of. And that's the point of this role play. That's what I want you guys to start to pay attention to, is how Awais and I respond to each other when we're talking about selling things that are pretty expensive. Okay. So you want to go first, my friend, and then we'll flip and then I'll go.
Yeah. And also, I want to add one more thing to this.
Shoot.
We are trying to establish a partnership here. So it's not counterparts. It's people that are now going to be working as a team over the course of the next few months.
Yeah.
So I want to, that's another thing to remind the audience.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Before we jump in, though, quick little message from yours truly. If you're a business owner who feels your branding isn't truly representing the value that you deliver, check out this free video training that will help you level up your brand's messaging and online presence so that you can start attracting higher quality clients. Visit www.uniquedesignz with a Z at the end, not an S, .net/level up my branding. And just a quick little shout out to April Tobin. She is back in the house and she is looking for this advice.
Welcome back, April.
I am excited to help April today. All right, let's rock and roll. I am a B2B business. I've been in business for about 5-6 years, and I am looking to take my business to the next level because what got me here isn't going to get me where I want to be. And I have a feeling Awais is going to be able to help me get there, but I'm not sure yet. This is why I reached out to him and we're having this conversation. So 3, 2, 1, let's roll.
Henry, thanks for jumping on this call. We were scheduled for 30 minutes. Does that still work for you?
Yes, perfect. Let's roll. I'm so excited for this conversation.
Me too. Me too. And by the way, I'll be taking notes during the call. Is that going to be okay?
Makes sense.
All right, cool. And then also part of my process is to determine alignment during this call, Henry. And so, if for some reason we figure out that this is not going to be a good fit, I'll be more than happy to refer you to someone in my network that's going to be more suitable for helping you out. How does that sound?
That works for me.
Excellent. All right. So tell me what's been happening in your business up till now, Henry, and what made you reach out to me?
Well, steady growth over the past 5 years. And I know that my branding is kind of holding us back a little bit. I feel like our messaging isn't as strong as it should be. I think our overall online presence needs like an uplift, a facelift, if you will. There's been a couple of times where I've gotten on the phone with some potential clients and I could tell that they just didn't have the confidence in us. And I don't know where that's coming from, because again, we deliver a great product, we deliver a great service, and I can't figure it out. And a lot of people that I've spoken to tell me, well, Henry, have you looked at your website lately? Have you looked at your branding lately? How do I, how can I, how can I get better at that? So a lot of people have been in my ear. So that is one of the challenges I think I have.
I understand. Yeah, that can be really frustrating, Henry. So how do you believe that I can help you with that?
Well, I see you on LinkedIn and you always post some great content. You always got me thinking. And then you posted something recently. I guess you just redid a website for somebody, and I thought it was really sharp looking. And I just wanted to reach out to see if, this was in your wheelhouse and it's something that you could potentially help me with.
Absolutely. So before we move into, discussing what a website and all that might be needed, uh, help me understand what a successful outcome might look like for you
Well,
if
first
you
of
and I
all,
were to work together.
yeah. Well, one thing I think we're having an issue with is qualification of leads. I think we're getting a lot of poor quality leads coming in, and we're trying to fix that. We're trying to get more higher quality leads in so we can have better conversations and better conversions. That's a big one. The other thing is I think overall, when I see a sharper, fresher, more professional brand presence, I'm thinking it's going to help me sell, right? Because I'm going to feel a lot more confident in my digital presence. And that is something that, again, we did the best we could to get us here. And I just don't know if this is going to help. Where we're at right now is going to help us go to the next level.
Yeah, many businesses at your stage feel that way once they get to this. So I understand, what you're going through at the moment. Uh, so help me understand your expectations for this project.
Well, the expectations of the project is, one is we definitely need a new website. I feel like this thing is just pretty outdated, and it doesn't really represent who we are now. The website is basically what we started with, and I think it did its job. So I think a new website is going to help us tremendously get to where we want to be.
And you also mentioned earlier in the call, you said that the overall branding and messaging is holding you back. So is that in addition, and then also just when you say online presence, are we also talking about your social media, all of those components as well?
Yeah, I think we're not doing a good enough job on social media. I think we're checking off all the boxes, but it's just not having the impact that I think we need.
I understand. All right, and then what are your top priorities over the course of the next 90 days, even the next 180 days?
Well, first of all, I would love to see, this new look, new feel, new presence. I think it'll refresh not only me, but the business and the team. I would love to see 2, 3 new clients coming in per month. I think that'll help us get to our goal pretty quickly. We're doing about half of that right now. So, I think that's my priority right now is higher qualified leads, stronger confidence in my digital presence, and 2, 3 new clients a month.
2 to 3 new clients a month. So help me understand that. What's each client worth to you?
Oh man. So it varies. It's like, it could, what do you mean? Like for a calendar year or like per purchase? What do you mean? Like lifetime value of a customer?
Lifetime value of a customer, and then even like on per engagement. Help me understand the client life cycle in general.
Yeah. So an average client is about 36,000.
Is
And
that per sale or over the course of the year?
that's lifetime value.
Okay.
And then, it could range depending on scope of work, upwards of 60, 70, sometimes $80,000 plus. So it's a range, but if you wanted an average, I'm comfortable saying about 36,000.
36,000. So you want to be able to generate a $36,000 business, or I'm sorry, 36 times three on a monthly basis.
Correct. So we're about 100, about a little over 100.
Almost 120.
Yeah, a
Let's
month.
just yeah. So let's ballpark it at 120,000 a month in new business
Mhm.
that you want to be able to generate. Okay. And so we're looking at about 1.4 million for the year.
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. So Henry, based on what we talked about in terms of, you wanting to uh, uh, get a more fresh brand that is of course, aesthetically appealing, but then also resonates with your clients.
Mhm.
And then you want a stronger online presence, website. You mentioned on several occasions during our conversation up till now.
Mhm.
Uh, the high quality leads, of course, all of that needs to translate to 2 to 3 leads per month. You want to be able to generate $120,000 approximately on a monthly basis.
Mhm.
What value would you invest, or what's a ballpark value that you would invest towards an engagement like this?
It's a good question always. I'm not sure. I don't know what something like this is going to cost or what something like, because I was talking to somebody the other day and they said that they can give me a whole new logo and color scheme and all of that for like 7,000. And I was like, wow. And they worked with some reputable companies in the industry. So I was like, that's really cheap. That might be a steal. Maybe I
Yeah.
just go there. Um, so I don't know I don't know what this costs. So can you help me there?
Okay, so on average, a project of this scale, Henry, my clients are spending about anywhere from 4 to 6% of their net operating income
Okay.
towards an engagement like this.
Okay.
All right.
So I don't know. Do the math for me.
So something like this is going to cost you around $120,000. So
Okay.
that's one client's worth. And we
Okay.
haven't really, so that's the figure that I'm putting as an approximate ballpark here.
Mhm.
Once we start drilling down, it might be just either slightly higher or slightly lower, and then you can go through it together.
Oh,
How does that
it's
sound?
crazy. Like you work on like you're telling me 120,000 and this person told me 7. So like now I'm confused. Like how can somebody do it for 7 and then you're telling me 120? Like that's a huge gap. And I'll be honest with you, I don't have 120,000 laying around to put towards a brand, a website and a logo. I just it's way out of my budget.
Yeah, and that's look. I completely understand where you're coming from, Henry, because there's a lot of companies out there that will come in and try to put together a brand and whatever else that you need from a visual perspective. They can come in and do all that great stuff and do that for you for $7,000. But what does the back end look like? You specifically told me that you wanted to be able to get about $120,000. You want to be able to generate $120,000 a month with 2 to 3 qualified leads.
Yeah.
So help me understand this again. How are you going to be able to attract those 2 to 3 qualified leads on a monthly basis consistently over the course of the next 12 months?
I don't know. That's why I'm here talking to you. I have no clue. This is not
That's
my
what I'm here.
wheelhouse.
So that's exactly what I'm here to help you solve for $120,000.
Well, I wish you can help me solve that, but I do not have 120,000.
I understand. So what are you willing to prioritize in this, and what are you willing to maybe deprioritize, and what can we focus on? Which part of this can we focus on right now in the immediate need, and then just maybe phase it out.
Well, maybe
Maybe
the
consider that.
messaging. Maybe if I could dial in my messaging, I'll get a better return on quality of client.
Okay. And how do you think we'll be able to dial in that messaging?
I don't know. Like, you tell me. This is your wheelhouse.
Okay, so our process around messaging is very similar to our process around branding. Okay. Everything begins with the foundational aspect of what your brand attributes and who are you speaking to. So we would really have to identify your clients.
Okay.
So there's an intense amount of work that goes into that, Henry.
Okay.
So
What are we
my
talking? Like a couple of Zoom calls or?
couple of Zoom calls, either, one of the sessions is going to be between you and myself and anyone else that's part of your team.
Okay.
And then what we have is what's called a voice of customer research. And I can talk to about 20 different customers, your existing customers, and see why they decided to actually work with you. Really go through that challenge, solution, results aspect of their interaction with you.
Well, wouldn't like a bunch of Google, like we got a bunch of Google reviews. Couldn't you just use that?
We could, but that's really abbreviated, and we don't know. Again, that's not part of our process.
Okay.
So, how accurate do you think we will be able to hit the mark on crafting that message if we just go off of your Google?
I don't know. Maybe you could work some magic that I don't know. Can't you just wave a wand away and like just get me a logo and get me a website? Because that's really all I need.
that wand is $120,000.
Man, well, that's
Well,
an
look,
expensive wand. So
I
I
understand.
don't know if I'm your client.
Well, okay, so and that's perfectly fine. Not everyone is an ideal client for anyone, right? So we serve a very specific, and we provide a very specific kind of an offering here. We want to make sure that it's done in a systemized process. And
Okay.
then also we want to ensure that it's delivered to you not only in quality, but it's also delivered to you in the time that you need it, not in the time that we can deliver.
Okay.
So not with our own convenience. And that's one thing that I would differentiate between a $7,000 versus $120,000
Hmm.
is when it can be delivered, because we don't want you missing out on opportunities. How many opportunities have you missed out on in the last 6 months?
Yeah, I don't know. I could tell you at least one, you know. Um, what if
And if
we
you were
just,
to quantify on that, tell me what that opportunity was worth.
well, at least 36,000.
Okay.
Yeah, at least 36,000. Um, so that I could tell you. But um, what if we just did this? What if we, how can we break this up? Is there, yeah. And before we even get into that, like, who have you helped? Like, have you ever helped anybody in X industry before? Like, I'm not, you know, I know you put out some good content on LinkedIn, but like, I would love to know like how you've gotten results for other people. Like, before I spend 120,000 on anything, I'm going to do my research.
Absolutely. And look, I can send you over some case studies that are relevant for your particular industries, whether it's exactly your industry or someone outside of that. Really, it's just, all of my clients come in with these exact same concerns.
Mm.
And they're in that stage where they're essentially in between their early stage and their growth stage. And this is a very critical moment in their business.
Mm-hmm.
So it's there's a high risk and a high reward sort of issue here, and so again, you got to figure out which direction you want to go in, Henry. But yes, can we phase it out? Of course, we can phase it out. We can break this. We can break this engagement and make sure that you're not having to take on $120,000 all at once.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Okay, well, let's talk about that then, because we might be able to work something out at that point.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So Here's what I'll do, Henry. I will put together a proposal. If if $120,000 as a whole, as in the entire engagement, works for you, we'll still phase it out. But I'll put together the proposal as part of my policy, though. Until I get a verbal confirmation from you that 120,000 is a good approximation for you to budget towards,
Mhm.
then I can put together a written proposal that aligns with that, and then we can discuss next steps. How
All
does
right.
that sound?
Sounds good. Great.
Excellent.
End
All
scene.
right.
End scene. How do you think he did, guys? Drop in the comments. Let me know let me know how you think Oace did in his questioning and in his sales conversation, trying to close a $120,000 gig. Love to get your feedback on that. Here we go. Most people don't understand branding, the benefits and what it does, why you need it, and why they need it. This isn't the typical customers who's so educated on the subject. Is this the norm for you? So they know enough. They know enough that what they're doing right now isn't working. That's what they do. And somebody planted a bug in their ear 9 times out of 10 that said, and you notice I said this earlier in the conversation. I had a couple people tell me it might be a branding issue. The website, the logo, the way you're showing up on social media or lack thereof. So like they're getting it from somebody else, which is like triggering something. So that's the compelling event that's
Exactly.
making them reach out to. That's what made me reach out to Oace, right? I didn't just wake up one day and said, I think I want to spend money on a new logo on a website. Okay, so April says, good job. The only thing that bothered me were his questions to your questions. Yes, some were needed. Others seemed self-explanatory. Interesting. Okay.
Okay.
All right, so let's do this. Let's flip the script. I'm going to sell you, and let's see how far we can go and see if I could get you to close. Now, I want you to pay attention to how I question and how I overall carry the conversation, and then we'll debrief after the conversation. All right, you ready?
All right.
3, 2, 1, let's go. So Oace, I am so excited to talk to you today. What brings you to this call today?
So Henry, I've been running a creative agency for a couple of years, but that's all fine and dandy. But when it comes to my own personal brand, I'm just trying to step out into as a subject matter expert, I'm trying to step out into social media, do podcasts, all of those things. But I don't know where to start,
Okay.
and I just I don't have a personal brand. I don't know what that looks like. I've just I've just been working on companies' brands, and that's it. I don't know what a personal brand looks like.
Got it. So what exactly are you trying to accomplish here?
Really, I want people to know me. I want people to look at me as that expert for for B2B branding. And I don't, right now, I'm virtually invisible.
Okay, so when you say expert in B2B branding, what do you mean by that?
So I want to be able to go out there and speak on that,
Okay.
be relied upon as the thought leader. I'd like for larger organizations to reach out to me to lend my insights to a wide variety of audience.
Okay.
And in order for me to do that, clearly I have to have a brand presence that is more from the personal side, because people don't know me.
Right. Okay.
I mean, yes, you have Tesla, you have Amazon, and then you have their CEOs or whatever their founders that have their own brand.
Mhm.
And so I'd like to be able to carry that same stature.
Okay, so it sounds like you have a lot to offer, but there's a lack of exposure.
Yeah, there's a lack of exposure, and I just, I would say more importantly, Henry, like there's just a lack of certainty. Like I don't necessarily have the level of confidence and certainty in my own individual brand to be able to step out in front of people and say, you know what, this is what I do, or this is what I think about, and this is my perspective on this particular space.
What makes you say that?
Well, I just, again, I don't know if I have enough to offer from that particular perspective. I just don't have the credibility
And how long have you been doing this before?
for about a decade.
And you don't have the credibility?
People don't know me.
S-
People don't know me. I mean, again, I've been doing this from behind the scenes.
All right, so let me ask you this then. How have you gotten thus far from just being a behind the scenes brand?
Well, again, we were just on the business side, on just the company side, that was completely separate, right? We had strategy partners, we had people that were part of our network that were feeding us business, and then just inbound sales, whatever all that looked like, we had that handled. But me as a personal brand, I just wasn't out there enough.
Okay. So
People
so
see
what
me with that business, but they just don't know enough about me.
so are you doing anything right now to stand out from your competition from a branding perspective?
I'm not.
Okay. Okay. So have you positioned yourself to connect your brand to your ideal client?
No.
Okay. So those are two big ones. Okay. What's your revenue? What's your revenue goal for this year?
My revenue goal for these speaking engagements, I'd like to be able to land about at least $500,000 in speaking engagements.
Okay. And how much is one client worth to you? What? How much is one speaking engagement worth to you?
Let's say about a $50,000 speaking engagement.
Woo, nice. So you only got to work with 10. You only need 10.
Yeah,
Nice. And if nobody knows who you are, you think they're going to be willing to spend 50K?
absolutely not.
Okay. So there's the big problem. Again, it comes back to exposure and credibility to allow you to command these fees. And the good news is you don't need a lot of them.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. So what's failed in the past? Like, what have you tried? And
I'll go out and post here and there on LinkedIn and Instagram, and I wouldn't necessarily say that it's on a daily basis, but I try to post routinely, but I just don't necessarily get the engagement that I want.
okay.
And that's one, right? And then also sometimes I'm just kind of taking an article, reposting that, uh, but that's all I've tried in the past.
Okay.
And then I did at one point hire my neighbor's 15-year-old nephew to put together a couple of things for my social media, and then also just had him just do a landing page for me. So that's about it. But none of it may have been great, but I don't think any of that generated any measurable impact for me.
Let me ask you this, Awais. I'm just going to cut to the chase. What are you most worried about today?
To not be taken seriously.
And after 10 years, you know, of grinding it out and getting to where you are today, there's a need to be taken seriously, especially if you want to command a 50K price point, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So let me ask you this. If let's fast forward a year from now, we're looking back on the year and you are crushing it. Okay. you're getting these 50K gigs and you're happy as hell. What's happened in your life that makes you look back and say, wow, I've made considerable progress over the past year?
Well, look, Henry, this is, the speaking engagements are something that I truly enjoy.
Okay.
And so,
Truly enjoy?
yeah, I mean, the ones that I've done for a considerably lower amount,
Sure.
it seems like those are the ones that I'm going out to, and it's just a part of my business now that I really like because I'm stepping out in front of people.
What's most
However,
enjoyable about them?
being able to interact with people, being able to be out there and again, express my thoughts, but at the same time, I feel like I said, I feel like there's a lack of clarity there. It does need to be dialed in because I do notice that there are people that are walking away a little cloudy.
So it sounds like your messaging is just missing the mark a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I really need a personal brand coach to get me through and help me just, get a bit more laser focused on this.
Okay. So is that what happened over the course of the year where you actually brought in a coach to help you with your personal branding?
I never brought in a coach. I
I
just
know,
hired,
but let's make believe we did. And that's what
ah,
got you to where you are a year, a year down the road. Is
yeah,
that
yeah,
okay? So you
absolutely, absolutely.
brought in a
Look,
coach.
I'm talking to you and three or four other people that are in the space to
Sure.
determine which one of you are going to be able to help me the most.
Sure. And
And
what are you what are you looking for out of that coach? Or what's a home
to
run look like?
Well, a home run to me looks like this. Of course, being able to land and one of the things that I'm expecting each one of you to do is to be able to acquire some of these opportunities for me.
Okay. So help you
Uh,
land the 50K gigs.
correct,
Okay.
exactly.
All
And then,
right.
of course, what does all that look like? I don't know. From a messaging standpoint, from you guys really giving me that sort of helping me project that sort of an image
Mhm.
that compels these organizations to look at me and say, okay, well, this is someone that we really want to come in and share his thoughts on. Um, and then, of course, by the end of the year, a home run to me, of course, is the monetary side.
Okay.
Of course, if you're bringing me these types of speaking engagements that are priced at a minimum of $50,000, well, then yeah, things are working. And
Okay.
if we were able to land the 10, that's great. That's a home run.
All right. Well, let me ask you this. Besides the money, why does this business exist? Why did you get into this gig in the first place?
That's a good question. Like I said, I mean, it was something that I felt was necessary now for me to take my other business to the next level as well. And, I see a lot of people that are just going uh, uh, into the business world now and stepping out as part of their personal brand as well. And so, I want to be able to make sure that I'm continuing to stay up with the trends rather than trying to trying to catch up at a later time. I don't want to play catch up.
Catch up?
Catch up.
Oh, catch up.
Yeah, I don't want to I want to be able to make sure that I'm doing things in my industry that are going to keep me ahead of the game, not behind.
Okay. So far you told me that there's a lack of clarity in your messaging, that there's a lack of exposure for your personal brand or your business, and there's a lack of credibility. And as a result, you're kind of feeling a little frustrated because you put in 10 years worth of work. And now once you get out on the digital platforms, it feels like, you're like a minnow in a sea of many different species. Am I on point there?
Yeah, that's accurate.
Okay. All right. So let me ask you this. If we had to, if I could share with you some of my connections that I could tell you right now, I have 3 clients that do these big live events that are constantly looking for thought leaders in different industries. If I could plug you into that network, but before we did that, make sure that your online presence, your personal brand, so your online identity looks the part, sounds the part, is positioned the part, because you said to me earlier that you're not really doing anything to stand out and you haven't really positioned yourself properly other than hire your neighbor's nephew to do some work on the creative side of things. Um, what do you think that's worth to you?
Well, I don't know. I mean, what's the market price right now? I don't know. I mean, again, I'm talking to you. You're the first guy that I'm talking to. Uh, I've got 3 others lined up. So what should I be expecting to spend on this?
Well, I can tell you this. I could get you a client. I could get you at least a client. I could get you one speaking gig for sure. Because I have the resources and the connections to make that happen. I'll give you a quick example. So one of my clients, he's a sales consultant and he was trying to develop this online program. He's been a sales consultant for 10 years. And the next step of his entrepreneurial career, because he's got his hands in a couple of different things, was to actually get into the speaking market, the speaking circuit, right? And so it just so happens that I have a client who is a huge sales trainer. So I didn't want to introduce him yet, though, to him because his branding was not up to par. And my other client definitely pays attention to details. And so what I told my client was, I'm happy to make that introduction because that's a shoe in, especially if the referral's coming from me. But we got to get you looking the part first, because it's like I'm not going to have you show up in a Toyota Corolla to a Lamborghini rally.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what we did. We polished up his brand. We got him a new website. We got him a new brand identity. We got him stronger messaging. I got him a brand guide. I got him a whole electronic press kit to prepare to send to my client with the introduction from me. And within 30 days, my other client booked them $30,000 gig, paid for half of my services in one conversation. So
Interesting.
those are some of the things that I could potentially help you with if personal branding is what it is that you want to focus in on. Now, is it going to cost you 50,000? I don't know. What I would do is this. I would phase this out into a couple of different phases so we know exactly what to build, right? So I will tell you this. For my thinking and the strategy and the discovery of all of what it is that you want to do, it's going to cost you $25,000. Okay. That's an investment, but I can tell you this, that investment is going to help inform you on what needs to be built out so you can land more $50,000 gigs.
Wow.
And then from there, we could talk about building something else.
Okay, so that's just we haven't even produced anything tangible. You're just telling me $25,000 right out the window.
Well, your tangibles are the insights that you're going to walk away with once
Okay,
we
so
once we
that
get.
that's something that you're telling me that I'll be able to use as a result of your thinking.
Yep, absolutely. I'll give you another example. Client of mine, she was charging $250 an hour for consults. She was a coach for 25 years. We took her through the strategy, we took her through the discovery, and we realized that there was a different business model for her that was going to help her 10x what she charges. So what we did was we developed the strategy, and we provided her with a brand strategy document, which that is very evergreen. That doesn't change.
Yeah.
However, the other thing that we gave her is we put together a business plan and a marketing plan for her. That's what you're going to walk away. That's the tangible that you're going to walk away with that 25K. Now, whether or not you want to execute that with me is up to you. I can tell you that 98% of my clients do move forward and we wind up building everything out for them. But say you didn't want to do that. You have your marketing plan, you have your business plan, and you have a tremendous amount of insight that you do not have right now.
Okay. All right. And then, so how long is that going to take?
Takes about 30 days, if not quicker, depending on your schedule, really.
And right after that 30 days, I actually have your insights immediately.
Yeah, you're going to have your brand strategy doc. You're going to have your business plan. You're going to have your marketing plan. You're going to be ready. You got the keys to the Ferrari, my friend.
All right. Well, I'll do this, Henry. I'm going to talk to the other guys as well and see where all of their deliverables land up and what they're charging as well.
Sure.
And then go from there. How does that sound?
Sounds good. I would highly do your diligence before you make an investment of this stature or this magnitude.
Excellent. Yeah, I will. Thank you, Henry.
You got it. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So, all right. So, question to the audience. How did I do? What are some things that you liked? What are some things that you have questions about? Let's talk about it. So, there you have it. Now, I think if I had a little bit more time, I might have pushed you a little bit, like, takeaway. Here we go. Peter Butler, takeaway. The right questions is key, and then mirroring the pain points will make them feel like you're listening and human. What's it worth? Questions seem salesy. Something about investing. Yeah, that's great. Would be less abrasive. Yeah. Well, Pete, you know me a long time. That's something that is like hardwired. I will come across abrasive sometimes, and that's just, traits that have been handed down to me from my parents. Okay, did great. I like that you got more personal, not so superficial.
Yeah.
Plus energy was great. Awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know what? I will say you told stories around your success cases, and that's one thing that I missed on. So I missed that opportunity during mine. So
I was hoping you were I was hoping you would catch that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the subtle sells, that help them feel confident and comfortable. I like my Toyota Corolla. I love Michelle. So yeah, when somebody comes and says, I'm just shopping around, one thing that you could say is it sounds like you're still shopping around. So, if you find somebody that is delivering the same amount of quality and value that I am for a cheaper price, then by all means, please go hire them. Right. If somebody is not ready to pull the trigger right then and there, and, I can't put a gun to their head. Right. But that's you have to encourage that. Now, I can tell you this, they're going to go and they're going to keep kicking the tire down the road. But here's what's going to happen, right? And Pete kind of brushed upon this when he first commented. What they're going to do subconsciously is they're going to compare your questioning to their questioning. And 9 times out of 10, if you come with the right questions, you're going to be remembered way more than those other folks. And that's what you got to pay attention to. And making somebody feel comfortable and feel like they are important is key. Yes, absolutely. You got to make somebody feel like they're on your side of the table. You're not on the other side of the table, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. But that was excellent. I think you had some real strong points. And to be honest, like, you came up with a lot of issues and challenges that a lot of my clients face. You know, the lack of exposure, the lack of clarity in their messaging, the lack of clarity of their own brand.
Exactly.
And where they fit in the where they fit in the scope of their market, right? So very, very important stuff. So guys, I hope that you got value out of today's conversation. If you I noticed just the we have another one. Sometimes it was a little much, wasn't it? Could be more listening in it, in my opinion. Yeah, I think Tom's right. I think for the sake of the skit, I was trying to move things up a little bit. I was trying to speed things up a little bit. A conversation.
We were working with a little bit of a time constraint. So
yeah. Like it usually takes about 45 minutes for me to really dig in. So I did that in half the time, and I think that's why it felt fast. Priyanka says, you also need to make them realize what they are losing out on by not taking action.
That's right.
Is not always a question of price. It's a question of value. So if they feel the value, they'll buy. So that was why I asked the question, what are you most worried about? And you said not being taken seriously.
Right.
And that's where I kept the conversation. So here's a question from Tom. How do you make them feel the value? How do you know it's the point to drop the hard? How do you know it's time, right? Or it's the point in the conversation to drop the hard sell? Well, you want to answer that? And I'll follow up.
Yeah, you know, my strategy is always once I have gotten what they're expecting, and by the time that they tell me what their lifetime customer value is, that's when I move into the price talk. So for me, that's always a move. And you know, what are they trying to generate over the course of the next year? What does that projected revenue look like? And what are they looking to invest towards that?
Here's where I dropped the ball. You ready? I didn't ask you after I got to that point in the conversation. I didn't ask you, so how should we proceed? That's the question. And it's not even a hard sell.
Yeah.
That is that's basically dropping the bomb. Are you in or are you out? Right? So how do we proceed? Right? And then who knows what you would have responded then? You could have said, well, what does your payment structure look like? Or
what is it? Yeah. How much is this going to cost me?
Yeah. And then it opens that. But you got to keep going. But I didn't ask that question. That's a question that really helps you kind of drop the sell question nicely without slamming it down like a hard sell.
One of the other things that noticed, and I would encourage everyone in the audience to go back and watch this video again. If you noticed at the top of my conversation how I started that conversation, it's around the 3 yes techniques. Are we still good for the X amount of time? You reached out to me and you know, are we still good for the, what was it? Are we still good for the this amount of time? You know, the determining alignment, is that going to be okay for you? So those 3 things, or I'm sorry, those 2 or 3 things are really going to be impactful. And then what else? I said, okay, yeah, I'll be taking my notes. I keep forgetting to do that one. So I'll be taking my notes during the call. Is that going to be okay? Very like rhetorical questions, but at the same time, they, you know, it creates this sort of a tone or yes along the way.
So did anybody notice, and I think you did a decent job with this too, always. Did you notice that neither one of us got into the weeds about our process? We didn't get into, well, step 1, we do this, and step 2, we do that, and step 3, we do that. We didn't get in the weeds. If you noticed, when I was kind of rephrasing everything back and kind of going in, I used all of the words that Oase told me. I used all of his words back at him. To Peter's point, it makes them feel heard, right?
Yeah.
I didn't add in any additional words. I didn't do any of that. I said, sounds to me, so far you're this, and that, which as a result, you're feeling this, and this. And you were shaking your head. Yep. What do you think, Owais, as we wrap up? What do you think I could have done to push you over to say, all right, let's go now?
I think if you ask me if I don't do this or if I go in the wrong direction, how much is it going to cost me to do this over again, to correct all of that?
There you go.
If you had asked me, I think that would have created a little bit more of an urgency and me moving towards you rather than considering someone else.
There you go.
Yep.
Guys, write that one down.
Yeah. What is it? What if we do this incorrectly? How much is that going to cost you? And what is it going to cost you if you don't do anything at all? Can you afford to do that?
There you go. So phenomenal. And that we did not keep that under 30 minutes today, but I knew we were going to go over. But great participation from the audience. Love all you guys. Peter, Tom is in the house. April Tobin is in the house. Michelle, Priyanka. Oh man, we had a bunch of people in
Wow.
today. So that was awesome. So
Thank you,
sounds
guys.
to me this is a topic of conversation that we need to continue to have on these shows. So be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're watching on YouTube, and be sure to check us out every Monday and Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, where we do these live streams. And we're going to be doing different role plays, not just sales role plays, but role plays on how we go through process with clients. I think you guys would really understand and appreciate some of that behind the scenes process that we do from a branding perspective to help you get the clarity, focus, and understanding you need to develop the brand, the messaging, and the identity to help you attract the clients that you truly want to attract and wish to attract. So last but not least, guys, if you haven't booked a brand assessment with me, this is where we sit down and really extract what are the roadblocks, what are the blind spots inside of your business that you may not even be aware of that's stopping you from achieving the next level of success in your business. And all you have to do is go to my website. I just put it on the screen there to book that assessment with me. Look forward to helping you. Look forward to our next live stream on Monday. And there you have it, guys. Have an amazing day, and we'll catch you on the next one real soon. Take care.